What's going on YouTube? So the Toyota Sequoia has been making waves in the full-size SUV market since its full redesign.
And for the 2025 model year, Toyota is upping its game once again by adding more luxury features and even a new trim level this year.
So, is this a great Japanese alternative to strong rivals like the refreshed Tahoe? Let's go ahead and find out. Alright, so as always, let's start off under the hood for the spec dump. You continue to have one powertrain option for 2025. It's the iForce Max hybrid system, producing 437 horsepower. That's paired to a 10-speed automatic transmission, and with the four-wheel drive system, we're setting at 20 mpg combined.
Now, of course, we can't wait to take it out on the road and show you what this is all like. We'll also be getting things like our sound level reading, and after that, discussing resale and reliability.
But let's go ahead and close up the hood because we need to get into those 2025 changes. So getting started here, I'm just going to go ahead and talk about the new trim level for 2025. That is the 1794 edition. You probably recognize that from the Tundra. That's making its way now to the Sequoia, and it will have some unique elements, including with our front design and wheel options, things like that, all throughout the vehicle itself. We'll go ahead and insert a picture so you can get a look at that. It's going to be one of the top trim levels. Now today what we have is the Platinum trim level. This is going to be the sportier kind of design, so you're going to notice we have the mesh grille going on up here in the front with the full gloss black finish. We also have the gloss black Toyota badging, and then down in the lower fascia that's also going to be finished in gloss black. As far as our lighting is concerned, this model will come with the premium LED arrangement. So it's projector LEDs with our crystal design here. You also have your daytime running light and sequential turn signal indicator, as well as fog lamps down here in the middle. And then walking around to the back, you continue to have that nice boxy, aggressive look.
Yeah, and since we have the Platinum, it is also kind of blacked out with all of our badging back here, as well as this accent piece. We also have an exposed rear wiper, and Drew's hopping inside so we can check out our tail lights. So as you can see, we do have a really premium LED tail light. So you have the brake light, your dynamic turn signal, and your LED reverse light. You get the sequential ability starting here on the Platinum and above. And then I do want to point out we have a new badge this year. This is your new iForce Max badge for 2025. Now down here at the very bottom, all of this is going to be, finished in a nice gloss black. Your tow rating is really impressive with this vehicle. You can have up to 9,500 pounds, and as tested today, we're sitting at around 9,000 pounds, which is more than the Tahoe.
Now, just like with the grills, you have a ton of different wheel options to choose from depending on which trim you pick. Most models are going to come with 20-inch alloy wheels, such as this Platinum. It's got the gray finish. Overall, you can go up to 22-inch alloys if you get the capstone example. Rising above here, we have, of course, our iForce Max branding. And in terms of our mirrors, these are actually fully loaded across the board. So you have blind spot monitoring, you have power folding, and auto dimming on every single trim level. Special towing mirrors are available as well.
Now here at the side, you're going to see that this Sequoia is certainly a very big SUV. As a matter of fact, it's about 208 inches long, which is just a couple inches shorter than a Tahoe. We'll see how the space is a little bit later on. Now when it comes to your safety systems, Toyota is going to give you the entire gamut as standard equipment, which is certainly very nice. So we'll even include things like adaptive cruise control. But guys, there's a really cool update on the inside that I can't wait to show you. So let's dive into that. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, now let's move on to the inside. First, we'll take a quick look at the key fob. Of course, you do have a standard smart entry system on all Sequoias. This is, Toyota's typical key fob. And to get inside here, just grab behind the handle. That will unlock the door. You'll see the mirrors fold out. And then also your power deploying running boards will pop out. That's standard on the capstone, available on most of your other high-end examples. All right, and Taking a look at the interior, no major design changes. However, there's changes in the details for sure. Let's start off by talking about what types of materials and color options you have on board. Again, lots of trims on this. So you begin with fabric seats. You have faux leather in the middle trims, real leather on trims such as this platinum, and then the top end capstone is going to come with a semi-aniline quilted leather seat. As you can see, nice look to this. We've got the blue stitching and perforation. They're nice and soft as well. We have 14 ways of power adjustment on this trim level, including a power thigh extension, which is very nice. And let me talk a little bit about the 1794 as well. That is going to have a special interior color. It's a unique brown. It's going to have real wood and engraving throughout the cabin as well. So it's very premium, kind of like the capstone is, just with a different flavor overall. And then another important thing I need to talk about is the fact that we now have power massage on our top example. So beginning at the platinum trim level, that's where you now have standard massaging seats. I want to point out that that's something that Tahoe does not offer. So keep that in mind if you're cross-shopping between the two of them. But let's go ahead and climb inside. And now that we're inside, let's look at the rest of the materials. Over here on our door trim, we have a leather material with nice padding all through the center section and all across the top here with a nice wide lip so you can rest your arm up here. As we move to the upper dash, this is finished again in a leatherette material with stitching and detail. A little bit of hard touch plastic over here on this part. On the platinum trim, you'll find kind of a faux darkened aluminum trim with platinum branding. This again will be a genuine wood on 1794 and capstone models. Leather through here with stitching details, more of that trim through here, more of the leather details. This is overall, of course, is a very expensive SUV, but it does have a lot of nice finishes inside of the interior. But let's go ahead and fire it up with our standard push button start. All right, let's dig into some individual details. We'll begin with our gauge cluster. This is our 12.3-inch full digital cluster, standard across the board. As you can see, nice looking graphics. They are unique to this model, so you do have some hybrid graphics, but also just kind of a tougher design than the other Toyota products. Up top on the Platinum and above, you also have a huge head-up display with a lot of additional information. As we pull back, we've got rain-sensing wipers, a nice leather-wrapped steering wheel with a big, thick, meaty rim, perforated leather, and some more of that blue stitching for the Platinum trim level. This is going to be power, tilt, and telescoping. It is also heated, beginning at the Limited trim level. But you really wouldn't want to buy an SUV this big without some good interior storage up in the front. Indeed, Toyota does deliver. So first of all, you got this kind of valuable tray right there. You can slide this back for quick access to the console, or you can just flip it up and check out the entire thing. You'll notice it's loaded down with a lot of donuts because at Car Confections, we put the stuffed donuts in the console so that we can tell you the volume. And in this case, we have all 24 donuts. That's the maximum number you can score on the donut test. That's 2 dozen. Now, of course, in front of that, you've got your couple cup holders as well. Large storage cubby up here. Platinum trim and above is where you'll get the wireless phone charging pad, which kind of sets upright like so. And then you've got your parking brake and brake hold over there on the side. In terms of the shifter itself, it's got a nice blocky shape. It is a traditional style, so just pull back for drive. Bump to the left if you want to shift manually. There are no paddle shifters on the steering wheel. And when we go into reverse, all models will give you this 360-degree camera system. As you can see right now, we've got the active trajectory view. We also have the guideline for hooking up a trailer, and you can switch between a few more views down there at the bottom. Back behind that, you have your drive mode control knob. You also have your four-wheel drive settings as well. And then let's kind of rise up into our climate controls. Of course, as you'd expect, 3-zone automatic climate is standard across the board. You can quickly make adjustments with the nice physical controls through there. Also, you will have heated seats as standard equipment. Ventilated seats begin on the Limited trim level, so most models will also get the ventilation. And then right in this region, we have our volume knob for the audio system. Upper tier models will get the 14-speaker JBL sound system. That's what we have today. Let's give it a sample. overall sound quality of this system is decent. It's definitely a lot more bass heavy than a lot of vehicles at this price point. Okay, let's get into the main infotainment display here. So as you can tell, very large display on board. This comes on the vast majority of trims. It's 14 inches and it has Toyota's latest and greatest software. Everything in here is huge because the screen is huge. So you've got just the nice shortcuts, really big and easy to select. Everything performs quite nicely and responsively. You do have wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay as well, standard across the board. Let me show you real fast how you get to those new massaging seats. You hit the car, go to seat controls, click massage, then you select which seat you want. It's on both the driver and the passenger seat. When you go into there, you've got all the same modes as you get on Lexus products. So I'm very happy to see that you've got all those selections. You just turn it on right there like so, and you can even change the intensity. This is a very good massage. As you can see, it hits your butt and your back as well. So definitely the full luxury experience in that regard. Up top, we have the auto dimming mirror, home link remotes. This is the smart camera rear view mirror as well. And then finally, wrapping up, we have a large panoramic sunroof.
Now let's go ahead and check out the rear seat area of the Sequoia. Of course, this is a big SUV. You want to have a lot of space here in the rear, and indeed, we are going to find a good amount. Now, as far as your legroom figures are concerned, you're sitting at about 39 inches of legroom and about 38 inches of headroom. Now, as far as how that compares to the rivals, such as the Chevy Tahoe, we are going to be looking at less legroom and a little bit less headroom as well, but overall space is perfectly fine for a full-size adult. I'm 5'9" for reference. This seat is adjusted to Drew, who is 5'8", and look at, we have 9.5 inches of additional legroom, so really good figures when it comes to that. My feet can also slide up underneath of the seat. Just be aware that these seats do not slide forward and back. They are fixed position, just like this. However, they do recline quite a good distance. Now, speaking of the seats themselves, you will notice that we have captain's chairs on this model. That's because the higher-end Sequoias will come standard with captain's chairs. You're also going to have this nice little storage cubby right here in the middle that you could put a couple things, as well as 2 cup holders. Now, if you have 4 drinks, you're going to be happy because you have 2 more cup holders right here. And then dropping down to features, we have climate control standard on all versions of the Sequoia. Additionally, when you opt for a platinum trim level and above, you're going to get heated and ventilated rear seats. So that's, once again, a feature that the Tahoe does not have on it. You have to go up to Yukon to get that feature. Now, dropping down below, we have a USB A and C outlet and a household style outlet. So really a ton of features when it comes to this rear area. We're going to have vents coming out of the ceiling, and then let's turn to the door trim. The door trim is going to have nice materials, and it's also going to have sunshades on the vast majority of Sequoia trim levels. And then down at the very bottom, there's a ton of door storage. You could definitely fit a couple more bottles in there. And now let's check out the third row of the Sequoia. So in order to get back here, it is just pulling this lever, and that's actually going to allow the seat to fold and then tilt out of the way. Do keep in mind, though, a child seat would have to be removed with this folding mechanism. Now let's go ahead and get back into the third row itself. All right, so I'm sitting back here with it slid all the way forward. And yes, that is the case. We have a sliding third row. Actually, Toyota says it can slide forward and back 6 inches, so that's a unique feature here with this Sequoia. If it's slid to the furthest most position, like what we have today on this seat, 28 inches of legroom is what you're looking at. However, if I reach down here and slide it back, we're looking at about 34 inches of legroom, which is really quite a lot of legroom. However, I will say the thigh support is very much lacking. And why is that the case? Well, that's because the Sequoia has not switched to an independent rear suspension, just like what you would find on a Tahoe or Expedition. So because of that, that does mean that you're going to have way less thigh support than those models, so keep that in mind. Now, as far as headroom, that's about 35 inches, and we're going to have 3 seats back here. As far as features are concerned, we have a hard armrest here. We also have the ability to recline our third row seats a little bit, so that adds additional comfort. We have 2 cup holders, and we're also going to have third row window sunshades, as well as a little storage cubby, and we're going to have vents out of the ceiling. So overall, it's not a terrible third row. I do just wish the thigh support was a little bit better, so I'm going to say this is fit for the in-laws. Walking up to the tailgate, you will have a hands-free power tailgate, standard on, once again, the vast majority of trim levels, SR5 Premium and above. I also want to point out you have this button right here. That's going to pop your rear glass independent. So glad Toyota left that on this new Sequoia, because I think that's a super useful feature a lot of people are looking for. In order to open it, you have a button under the lid, or you can kick right under there. Now, let's talk about the overall space you're going to find in the Sequoia. Now, you might be surprised to find that the Sequoia doesn't have quite as much space as you would think. We're sitting at 22 cubic feet behind the third row of seats. If we fold those seats down, 49 cubic feet, and as a maximum, around 87 cubic feet. Now, how does that compare to Chevy Tahoe, which is the Sequoia's main rival? Well, that's going to be quite a bit less. The Chevy Tahoe is about 122 cubic feet as a maximum. So about roughly 30 cubic feet difference between this and a Tahoe. So keep that in mind if you're looking to haul a bunch of stuff. However, Toyota has done a really nice job of finishing it well. So we do have these buttons that allow you to easily fold the third row of seats down with one press of the button. And you're probably also noticing this little shelf here. This is set up so you could have like a dual-tiered system if you want to put your groceries in a tier. Also, it will allow this to be completely flat because these third row seats do not fold flat with the floor. So keep that in mind. They're just kind of sticking up. If you look down here, you'll be able to see that the battery componentry and the seats are going to be sticking up out of the floor. So it's not exactly going to be flat unless you use this shelf. Now let's go ahead and fold the second row of seats down so we can get our cargo width, height, and length figures. Now I wish they included buttons from the cargo area to do that, but now that I've got those seats folded down, let's go ahead and get our cargo length figure. So from behind Drew's 5'8" driving position, we're looking at 87 inches of length in case you're looking to haul something. From behind the second row of seats, about 50 inches. From behind the third row, we're looking at a rather small 16 inches of length. As far as cargo width, that's very impressive though, 51 inches wide. And then cargo height, I'll get both of your figures. One from the shelf system with the flat floor, that's about 25 inches in height. And then I'll do my best to kind of estimate with all this seats down, about 36 inches tall there. You're also going to have a spare tire, and that's going to be integrated underneath of the bumper there. Well guys, here we are behind the wheel of the 2025 Sequoia. In this test drive, we're going to be discussing quite a few different things, as you can see on the screen right now. We'll also be getting our sound level reading, but first we want to go ahead and start with a hard acceleration. Wow.
So obviously we're coming up to a red light. That wasn't, like a full 0 to 60. But this powertrain, guys, is very powerful. Yep. We said it before, we'll say it again. Gone are the days where a hybrid means you have like a weenie powertrain. That's certainly not the case here with its 3.5 liter twin turbocharged V6 engine plus all the hybrid componentry. 437 horsepower. 583 pound-feet of torque. Those numbers are really good. Now, I probably don't even have to tell you that, but really the thing I want to compare to is the Tahoe. So the Tahoe comes standard with a 5.3 V8, and then they have the optional 6.2 V8, and the 437 horsepower is more horsepower than the optional engine on the Tahoe, and it's also significantly more torque than the optional engine on the Tahoe. So this is going to be more powerful, and that's standard across every single version of the Sequoia. So even a base model would get this powertrain set up. So that's definitely a big benefit in the Sequoia's favor. Yeah, even when you're just lightly on the gas, the torque will push you back in the seat. 0 to 60 on this is about 5.6 seconds. Yeah. So again, really good power numbers. And in terms of how the hybrid system operates, this is called the iForce Max powertrain. And when they call it that, what that means is they're emphasizing the power over top of fuel economy and their other types of hybrid systems. So when you're driving this vehicle, it's not going to stay under like electric power all that much. What this is mostly used for is boosting performance overall, and it does also help your fuel economy. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Let's talk about the other element of the powertrain, and that is our transmission. We've got a 10-speed automatic transmission on board. This is a really good partner with this overall hybrid system. Nice and smooth shifts. You have plenty of power as well as soon as you put your foot down.
Yeah. You do have standard two-wheel drive on most trim levels. However, new for 2025 is that you have four-wheel drive, and that's standard on Platinum trim levels and above. So some of your top models will just skip standard to four-wheel drive. So that's a new addition this year. And let's go ahead and discuss your fuel economy, because Drew mentioned that a little earlier about your fuel economy being improved over some of the rivals like the Tahoe. And indeed, we are sitting at either 22 mpg combined if you choose the two-wheel drive version, or 20 mpg combined. Now, it's certainly no Prius. 20 mpg is not great. However, it is quite a bit better than those things right there. The Tahoes, you see them in the distance there, the police cars, they get about 16 miles per gallon. So you're getting about 4 mpg improvement over something like that. So that will, of course, save you quite a bit of money in the long run when it comes to fuel expense. I also kind of like that it gives you a nice burly sound to it. Even though this is a V6, they definitely are pumping in some fake noise to make it kind of sound more like a V8 experience. For those of you that had the previous Sequoia or are coming from a Tahoe, I don't think you're going to be too disappointed by that. Now, I do want to go ahead and quickly talk about our ride quality when we take off here. So now that we're on the highway portion, I want to just quickly discuss ride quality. Now, when it comes to the Sequoia, a couple things to consider. This is, of course, riding on a body-on-frame platform. It's based on what the Tundra is. It is going to give you a distinctly trucky feel compared to other vehicles in the Toyota lineup, such as the Grand Highlander. They do offer a rear air suspension as well as an adaptive variable suspension setup on this model. We don't have that. That's available on Platinum trim levels and above as an option. And overall ride quality is going to be pretty good. I will say pretty good because other rivals such as the Tahoe with its full air suspension will ride a little bit better than this. The rivals that offer that air suspension setup definitely do a little bit better of a job of isolating out any intrusions into the cabin, but overall ride quality is going to be satisfactory for those of you that are used to driving a truck.
Yeah, and one thing I do want to add is that we've previously spent the most time with the Capstone version. That one rides on 22-inch alloy wheels. This one has has 20-inch alloy wheels. So in that regard, those 2 inches, I think, do make all the rest of the versions ride better than the Capstone.
All right, but this is a luxury truck after all, so let's get our sound level reading going, 55 miles per hour. Quite good. 55.7 is what we are sitting at, is our official sound level reading here in the Sequoia Platinum. Now, if you're curious as to how this compares to the competition, you can find that at carconfections.com/sound level readings. We post all of this vehicle's competition, and we can see how it compares. And that's pretty consistent with what we got last year in the 2024 Sequoia Limited model. And it's going to place it pretty much middle of the pack in terms of the full-size SUVs when it comes to sound level reading. But now I think it's time for us to get into our slam dunk and airball, which is our favorite and least favorite element about the 25 Sequoia. I'll just go ahead and kick us off because I'm turning it on right now with our slam dunk. Our slam dunk is the 2025 improvements that they've made to this model. Toyota really didn't need to make a ton of changes, and they've added a new trim level this year, and they're also adding highly requested features such as these massaging seats. I think that's something that's going to help them to stand apart from stuff like the Tahoe, where that is not available at all.
Now, on the airball side of things, that of course is going to be the space. We already went through that pretty thoroughly with the packaging issues in the third row, as well as the cargo area just make it a lot less practical than what you can get from most of the competition.
And lastly, when it comes to your warranty, you have a 3-year, 36,000-mile basic warranty, 5-year, 60 powertrain. Toyota also gives you 2 years of complimentary maintenance, which is certainly very nice. And now let's talk pricing for the 25 Sequoia. Now, prices do rise a few $1,000s this year, so keep that in mind. But you are getting more features, so that's something to consider. $62,175 is what we're starting at. If you want the capstone model, that starts at $83,665. Now, this Platinum model, as you can see, we have the 25 Platinum. Starting at $79,320, we do have standard 4-wheel drive. A few options on this model. Plus, our destination charge has increased to $1945. We're sitting at $84,463 as tested today. Now, if you're looking to buy a Toyota Sequoia or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, the reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. But buying a car is about more than just the original MSRP, so let's dive into resale and reliability. So let's start by discussing resale value. As an economics graduate myself, Drew and I took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this Toyota Sequoia's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'll be worth 64.5% of original MSRP, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 41.4%. Now, as far as how that compares to other automakers, that is the second best brand that we look at, so incredibly good resale value, and that's something worth noting because that is going to be better than what Chevy offers with something like a Tahoe.
Now, we've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. What this does is take into account several studies on reliability from trustworthy sources and combines them in a way that gives you a more holistic picture. In this regard, Toyota is rated as the #1 brand overall in reliability.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our resale values and reliability data, as well as our methodology, be sure to go to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a new vehicle is a big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. Guys, that's going to be it for our in-depth look at the 2025 Toyota Sequoia. Hopefully you enjoyed watching this video and enjoyed seeing the changes Toyota's made for this Sequoia model. If you did, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to help us to make more videos like this. You're also going to be a part of our Car Confections family, and we have a lot of fun and do a lot of car reviews I promise you won't want to miss out on. So do yourself a favor, subscribe down below. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.